From America's heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. The following is a GJRB podcast presentation.
And now, another GJRB schedule update. Here he is, Gary J. Russell.
Hello everyone, hello everywhere across America and around the world listening on GJRB online on Spreaker for the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. And this is a GJRB Schedule Update Podcast to a new revised edition, updating the new GJRB programming schedule for the rest of the year. Now, about a week or so ago, we ended the season with crooners and Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics. So the colorful freestyle fall spectacular is now over, but we're headed into the Christmas season on GJRB Online, and it'll be time for another bright holiday, and that'll be starting around the top of December. I'll give you details on it coming up a little later on. Now, the program schedule is being shifted and changed around to something different, in a more flexible schedule that accommodates anything that would happen outside the station, or something that I have to do that will be more important than doing the live broadcast. Or if I have to cancel for any reason, that leaves the everything wide open to be more flexible in my programming. As you will know, I have a cardiac rehabilitation 3 times a week, which means that I have to reduce the GJRB program schedule and broadcast only day to day. The schedule graph, which I originally had created, has been changed in that it has been emptied out for a new graphic schedule in the form of a calendar, and I'll show you that in the video version of this podcast, which will be uploaded later. Meanwhile, though, I want to make a program change announcement for people listening this weekend. The scheduled Gary Russin program, which was to be aired on Tuesday, November 22nd at 2 o'clock Central, has been canceled. That program will not air on that Tuesday. I will have another Gary Russin program scheduled, though, for the following Tuesday, which will be November 29th at 2 o'clock Central here on GJRB Online. So that's already a program change being made already in the GJRB program schedule. So that means that there is a slight change in the program schedule, and we have to do something different. And other than that, some of the week's programming is going to be a little different now that Spreaker had cut down my programming, and I could only broadcast 5 hours at a time a week. That means that I can only broadcast programs 2 times a week, 1 or 2 times a week, so that the podcast can stay on at a good amount of time. So that will mean that the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast that you're listening to right now will only be on here until the middle of next week. As a matter of fact, I'll probably have it on here now that the Tuesday broadcast on November 22nd will not air. This podcast will stay on the Spreaker public site a little bit longer. Now, I will have a Gary J Sports page live on Saturday afternoon. That's Saturday afternoon, November 19th at 2 o'clock Central. Now, that's going to be tentatively, as I do not know when the Iowa Hawkeyes play that day. As you know, on the 9-foot FM signal, Talk FM 108, I do carry the game with KROS. So the Iowa Hawkeye football game is over at the end of the post-game show. I will be on the air with Gary J Sports page. So it'll be probably an abbreviated 2-hour edition of that program. And it'll be Saturday afternoon right here on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. So that's going to be giving me a little bit more space on the Spreaker public site for everything. This podcast that you're listening to right now, and the CCF church services from last Sunday. So Yeah, that's what's on here right now as you're listening. Right now, though, this program rotation will be something a little different. It will be based on the GJRB music rotation. The music rotation being that I do everything in categories or genres, or categories of programming, and the particular song underneath the genre. Same thing here. I have genres that follow that same thing, and they are music shows, nostalgia, remotes, and talk show. And then we start over again with music. Every other week is music programming. Every other week is talk show programming, so that it alternates enough on the program schedule to fair balance of programming on GJRB. Now, under the music shows, I have the list of the music shows that are on GJRB regularly, and or haven't been on regularly, but they are going to be again. That's the Best of Jazz, Bluegrass Jubilee, Crooners, which you just heard last weekend, premiered, GJRB Music, which is our GJRB regular music format, automated music, Gary J in the Afternoon, which is the music show that I do featuring new artists, new music in the regular music format. That is the program I call Gary J in the Afternoon. New music, new artists in a regular music format, kind of a middle-of-the-road format, as I mentioned before. A little of everything, and usually premiering new music from new music artists all the time. Those two shows are always broadcast together, okay? GJRB Music will always be followed by Gary J in the Afternoon on the schedule, always. In between that, I had mentioned Gary J's Blues House. I'm going to move that up after Crooners. Good Times Great Oldie Show. That's going to be my oldie show, which is going to start at the beginning of the new GJRB season, which will be in our spring season programming. That's our GJRB Fabulous Spring, Freestyle Spring Spectacular, featuring some new programming that I'm going to be mentioning later, some other stuff I got planned. Good Times Great Oldie Show. It's going to be 50s, 60s, rock and roll. Just the oldies program. Be fabulous. Then we follow that up, the Positive Rock Show and Rock Worship. Now, the Positive Rock Show usually follows our CCF church services. That's the same for Rock Worship. That follows always on a Tuesday. Usually is, but it'll probably get rotated around. But when we get into the new season and we have more programming days that we can be on the air, and expanded programming, when I get the Spreaker Premium, I'll be able to have these programs on more often. And then there's Smooth Jazz, Smooth Afternoon. That usually broadcast on a Friday and usually airs together. That will remain the same. That's been usually airing the first Friday of the month, but under this new rotation, it will be on more often as well. Then Swing Time. Now, Swing Time is my big band show, and it is very highly contented. I'm trying to write more shows in advance, so that I can record more podcasts in advance, and they would be ready for air at a particular point, so they'd be on more often. But I haven't had much luck in that. So I've been doing those shows one show at a time. Those are podcast only. I got one coming up for that was supposed to air during the fall season, which just fell through, and that was our show on 1945. That will air in the spring on our spring schedule. I also have one I'll be working on Stan Getz, which I'm going to try to get on during our late spring or summer schedule. In which case, I'll probably have to work on, I guess I'll be working on that program. Swing Time Favorites is a live show, and usually play all the songs that I played on Swing Time. And that's always a pretty good show. I play a lot of all the swing hits, and it's absolutely incredible. Then we go into Nostalgia. Under the Nostalgia programming, it includes Crooners and Gary J's Radio, Television, and Movie Classics. Those always air together. Always airs together. They always follow each other. That'll also be followed and be broadcast together. This will air together. And right after Gary J's Radio and Television Classics, especially when we expand to our premium, Radioland will follow right after that. Okay, so for now, though, the only two programs airing together are Crooners and Gary J's Radio, Television, and Movie Classics. Under that same nostalgia category will then be Gary J's Good Times, Great Oldies Show, followed by Swing Time or Swing Time Favorites. And that thing is, again, Swing Time will air again. Mostly that will probably be a re-upload of the last Swing Time show. That podcast will just get re-uploaded. Or I will have a new one ready to go. Swing Time Favorites, again, will also air. And that program will, again, be on the air as part of our nostalgic weekends, which we call nostalgia weekends. Under the remotes, these are podcasts that are recorded outside the GJRB studios and count as remotes. They upload early in the week and can be uploaded also on the weekend as a weekend podcast, or podcast weekends, or upload during the week when the GJRB is not on the air. They include CCF church services for the previous Sunday, the last 7 days, the most recent one recorded from that Wednesday. Bible study, that again, the current Bible study only will get uploaded. The older ones that I'm behind on will get put on the GJRB YouTube channel. Specialty programs also, and concerts. Any event the church would have that I record is a special, such as the recent Harvest Festival event that was very short this year for some reason. Short. The people didn't make it. We were going to have it on longer. So that podcast will air then as a special podcast on a podcast weekend. And maybe a Gary Russell program where I would record that on location, such as an event or a campaign, or if I ever do anything again, maybe towards the next presidential election or something like that, I would do outside the studio. That would be part of the Gary Russell program mostly, and or can be part of that. Now we go into the talk shows. The talk shows are the Gary Russell program, Way Out There, which is like Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie, where I talk about the strange, the bizarre, the unusual. And then Gary J's Radio and Television and Movie Classics qualifies as a talk show. That would mean that program will have a new show, or it will be a re-upload of a most recent show. But I will a lot of times like to have more of these Gary J's Radio, Television, and Movie Classics on that weekend. Then, of course, Gary J's Sports Page, which airs regularly every other Saturday here on GJRB. Well, just like my music shows, like I said earlier, just like my music programs, I will be scheduled when I can and when I'm ready, and whether the show is prepped. Okay? Just like my music programs, I'll be scheduled when I can, when I'm ready, and when the show is prepped. Some programs will air in the evenings, and then some programs will air on weekends, such sometimes on Sundays. Every other week we'll have music shows, like I said earlier. Every other week we'll have talk shows. The programs that will remain on the regular time slots and will stay there starting in January when I get done with my rehab. We'll continue doing the last 7 days and Way Out There on the third Friday of the month. Other than that, Way Out There will be on more often in that rotated cycle. Under the new rotation, the Way Out There show, Gary Russell program, Gary J in the afternoon will be on more often. Gary J's Sports Page will also stay at that time slot every other Saturday at 2 o'clock Central. Or if there is a game on my local end of my FM station, local end of this station, on my 9-foot signal, on my closed circuit signal, that game will takes precedence over it. So there will not be a Gary J Sports page if there is a sporting event such as football, or in the summer, in the spring and the summer when there's baseball, such as the Cubs, we will not be doing a Gary J Sports page. Coming up, I'll explain more of this, how this is all going to work, and how the programs are going to air. Coming up, stay with me for that. I'll be giving you the program schedule. I will tell you how that's all going to work, how the program rotation works. That's coming up next on the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast on GJRB. We'll be right back. Attention musicians, if you're starting a band or just starting a solo act on your own, go to the place on the internet where you can get equipment at great prices. HelloMusic.com. They have guitars, amps, mixers, and microphones, some at great low prices. Log on today and look at the equipment at www.hellomusic.com. Like them on Facebook for chances to win guitars, mics, and other band equipment. Remember the name, Hello Music. Attention musicians, if you're starting a band or just starting a solo act on your own, go to the place on the internet where you can get equipment at great prices. HelloMusic.com. They have guitars, amps, mixers, and microphones, some at great low prices. Log on today and look at the equipment and the prices. www.hellomusic.com. Like them on Facebook for chances to win guitars, mics, and other band equipment. Remember the name, Hello Music. You hear great jazz on GJRB with the best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, smooth jazz, and smooth afternoon. If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming, and programming in other great music formats, like blues, urban, including rap, also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, you get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA, listen, and enjoy. Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between, like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land. GJRB Online. Still the What's Happening sound. Oh yeah, we're back. Welcome back. I'm Gary J. Russin. This is the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. A look at what's coming up on our GJRB program schedule through next year. Actually, I'm going to look at what we're going to do next year. This is an hour-long podcast, and it'll give me a chance to run through this real quickly. So we're going to start off now by showing you exactly what we're going to do with our program schedule here on GJRB. And I'll have a visual video of this on the GJRB YouTube channel next week, so that you have an idea exactly how this is all going to work out. Okay, let's start off with what we got planned. Like I said before, all engineers are always in the order that they're going to be in. Okay. The music format, I have a clock, just like the format wheel that I have for my music. It's in the form of a clock. This one is in the form of a calendar. Okay. All right. The music format, I have a clock. Right, I told you that. I put the type of music song, whether it would be a current or a new emerging artist with a new song. Same with this. Originally, I was going to do a video of this, and I think that I'm going to. As I said earlier, I already have a video going here, as you're seeing on the GJRB TV YouTube channel. The engineers are music shows, nostalgia, remotes, and talk show. Again, we go back to the top of the page and we start over again. Under each genre, of course, is the music shows that I had mentioned earlier, and all that are under that genre, or fall under that genre category, are Best of Jazz, Bluegrass Jubilee, Crooners, GJRB Music, Gary J's Blues House, Gary J's Radio, Television, and Movie, Gary J in the Afternoon, Good Times, Great Oldies Show, The Positive Rock Show, Rock Worship, Smooth Jazz, Smooth Afternoon, Swing Time Favorites. Those are the music shows. Now, that's a long list of, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have about 13 music programs on that list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a descending order and an ascending order simultaneously. We'll start at the top of the page with the Best of Jazz, and at the bottom of the page, Swing Time Favorites. Then each show will go Bluegrass Jubilee, then Swing Time if it's available. It'll probably be an old one. Otherwise, we skip the Smooth Afternoon, then Crooners. Smooth Jazz and Smooth Afternoon are together, so we put those together. Crooners and Rock Worship. Okay, that'll be under music shows. We have maybe one show will have Crooners, one show will have Rock Worship. Then we go to GJRB Music and the Positive Rock Show. Okay, GJRB Music, one show. Now remember, GJRB Music and Gary J in the Afternoon are together, so they always broadcast together. So those programs will be in that order when they become their turn. They will also be then go together with the Positive Rock Show and Rock Worship, the next music shows that we do the following week. And they'll all go together in the middle with Gary J's Good Times, Great Oldies Show, which would air on a nostalgic weekend. And then we start all over again. Either a descending order or an ascending order, depending on how I feel. If I want to do all in order from top to bottom, I could do that and then go reverse and play it from the bottom to the top. And that's how we're going to do that. Same with Nostalgia. Each program, now Nostalgia, they'll have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nostalgic programs. That includes the Oldie Show, Crooners, Gary J's Radio, Television, and Movie Classics, Radioland, Good Times, Great Oldies Show, Swing Time, and Swing Time Favorites. That'll go in that order all the time. Okay, that'll always go in that order all the time when we go to the nostalgic programs. Either it'll be a rebroadcast of a previous show, or it'll be a broadcast of a another show. You know, I'll have a new one. Okay, under remotes, pretty much that's self-explanatory. That's all the programs that we usually have on the weekends. They're for the church services, Bible study, and specialty programs, but mostly the church services, the last 7 days in Bible study, which will always be airing in rotation and will always be uploaded on the weekends, or usually on the weekends. The countdowns remotes uploaded early in the week, or uploaded on the weekends, the podcast weekend, or uploaded during the week when GJRB is not having a live broadcast during that week. Then we go to talk shows. That's the Gary Russin program, way out there, like Coast to Coast. And Gary J's Radio, Television, and Movie Classics, which is a talk show. Again, now there'll be either a fresh show or a rebroadcast of a previous one. Followed by Gary J's Sports Page, which is on every other Saturday. But if it falls in that order, I could be doing a Gary J's Sports Page within the week. I could do it on a weekday or something. So that's how that's all going to work. It's pretty cool. Just like that. Now, what I'm going to do after the break is I'm going to give you the... I'll be showing you in video how that's all going to come about and how each program is going to be fitted onto the calendar. As I did a calendar of the programs, and again, that's a visual thing, and we're going to do that upon my return here on GJRB. This is the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. I'll be right back in just a few moments with more of our program to let you know how our program schedule is running and how we do this new schedule rotation after we take this program break.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land. From Clinton, Iowa, on Spreaker. This is GJR Broadcasting. GJRB. It was the year World War II ended, and the troops came home, and the music was fabulous, with big hits from Perry Como, Judy Garland, and the Andrews Sisters. The year was 1945. Listen to the year in music on the next Swing Time. I'm Gary Russin, and I'll be featuring the biggest hits from that year, along with trivial information about the prices of items such as groceries, the news events, the culture of 1945 on the next Swing Time. After 1 year, the wait is over. Now join Pastor Ron Johnston and a panel of men and women to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. In this world of chaos and upheaval, this is the program that puts it all into perspective. How will we survive? God only knows. So trust Him and listen to the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast or live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB Online. Okay, we're back on the air here on GJRB Online as we do the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. Take a look at some of the programs that we have going on GJRB and the new revised program rotation. Okay, so welcome back to it. I explained this next half hour how that all goes into place and the new program schedule and how it works. In the music format, like I said, it's going to be like a clock, but instead of a clock, as you see here on the video, it's a calendar. Now, so far, what you see there are the programs that just aired last weekend, and some of the stuff we had coming up. Now, that's ignore that. This was supposed to be recorded last week, but I did some changes there. I had a lot of stuff to do this week, so we're going to jump now to this week, which we're in now. And on Saturday, I got Gary J's Sports Page. But like I said before, I don't know when the Hawkeyes play. I have to look on the schedule. I haven't looked at it yet. So I have no idea when the Hawkeyes play. But I think they play Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning, probably 11 o'clock. I'm not sure, but I'm going to double check that, and I'll let you know. Probably through post. So just to let you know about that for FMers. But otherwise, for the people listening on Spreaker here, we'll probably be on maybe late in the afternoon, like about 10 to 4, if the Hawkeyes are playing. So that is how that's going to work. That'll be on the 19th, okay? Iowa Hawkeyes or that. Might do real quick, maybe what I could do while I'm on here is they're going to go onto the internet real quick and take a look at the schedule here. You won't see this on your video, but I'm doing this right now. I'm going to go to the Iowa Hawkeye schedule and see what they're up to this week as far as when they play again. Where's the Hawkeye? I always lose that Hawkeye emblem as to where they're at. Where's my Hawkeye schedule at? I always lose that stupid thing. Where's that Iowa site? Okay, it should be here. I have an Iowa Hawkeye site on here. Here it is. And try to see when they're going to play this week. At what time? This coming Saturday the 17th, which is, let's see, Saturday's, no, I want November 19th. November 19th against Illinois. That's going to be on the Big Ten Network. Yeah, it's an 11 a.m. Saturday game out of Champaign. So that'll be on our 9-foot signal with our partner station KROS. That's going to be 11 a.m. game. So right after that game is over, along about maybe 3:50 and around there, 3:30, 3:50. Right after the network goes off the air, the Hawkeye Network, the Learfield Network finish up their post-game show. Then Gary J's sports page will be on the air. So that'll be Saturday afternoon, right after the Hawkeye game, on our 9-foot signal, Talk FM 108. And that's our 9-foot KGRZ LP FM, 9-foot closed circuit. And carry the game on there. And then right after the game and the post-game show, we'll be here on Spreaker with Gary J's sports page. So just to let you know about that, okay? Gary J's sports page, Saturday afternoon, right here on GJRB. And I'll post when we'll be on the air about an hour before. So let you know when we'll be on the air, okay? With the sports page. Now, the 22nd, I had scheduled a talk show. I scheduled the Gary Russell program. But like I said earlier in the broadcast, that show has been canceled. I am pulling that program in favor of production because I have a lot of things to do toward the Christmas programming and a few other things I want to get ready for because I got a jazz weekend coming up that I want to work on too. So I'm taking that day off and I'm going to work on that. Next Gary Russell program will be the following Tuesday, which will be, I was going to do the Gary Russell program on the 30th, but I moved it back to the 29th. It's going to be a Tuesday show, and it'll be live 2 o'clock Central Time here on GJRB Online for the Gary Russell program. Okay, that will be on Tuesday next week, the 29th. Okay. All right. Now, that weekend, right after Thanksgiving is over, I'm going to take Thanksgiving off. I always do. We're going to have Smooth Jazz. That Friday, it's going to be Smooth Afternoon. Now, Iowa Hawkeyes will probably be playing that day, I betcha. I'm going to take a look at that. November 25th, it's a Friday. It's a TBA coming out of Iowa City. And that will be the last Iowa Hawkeyes game. That's the Hy-Vee Heroes game. And that is a TBA so far. We don't know when that's going to start. But I'm going to probably have it on mute on the TV in here. Probably don't even get the game. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. That day, Iowa Hawkeyes last game, I'm going to be on the air on Friday, November 25th at starting at noon here on GJRB Online. We'll be on the air at 12 o'clock noon Central Time for Smooth Jazz and Smooth Afternoon. Great day of jazz on GJRB Online. We haven't had a Smooth Jazz, Smooth Afternoon for a while, and it's going to launch our GJRB Online Jazz Weekend. It'll be our GJRB Online and local on our 9-foot signal. That's on 106.7. It's KJAZ, Cool Jazz 106.7. And we'll have Smooth Jazz, Smooth Afternoon, Jazz All Evening on that frequency. And then through the night in a brand new program on our 9-foot signal for a lot of people listening on the 9-foot signal or listening to or live in this neighborhood who have the 9-foot signal can listen to a brand new show that I'm debuting. It's based on the old radio station's soft music format, which is called Easy Nights. It's based on the way radio used to have that soft music station. Well, I'm bringing that back. Easy Nights. And it's going to be on a couple nights a week, a couple nights on our weekend. And then on Saturday night, tentatively at around 8 p.m., we're going to do the Best of Jazz. Okay? So that's going to be something that will be on our GJRB Online here on Spreaker. That's following Saturday night, the Best of Jazz. And I'm going to line up some great jazz selections, and I'm going to just play some of the Best of Jazz freestyle that Saturday night. So I hope you'll tune in for that on GJRB Online on Spreaker. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed that one. That's coming up. Smooth Jazz, Smooth Afternoon. And then on Saturday evening will be the Best of Jazz. Then on the 30th, or rather on the 29th, now that Best of Jazz, that jazz broadcast will stay on pretty much the whole weekend until Tuesday, November 29th. And then on November 29th, we're going to have the November 29th, we're going to have the Gary Russin program that will be canceled from the 22nd. So there won't be no Gary Russin program on the 22nd, but we will have a Gary Russin program November 29th at 2 o'clock Central right here on GJRB. Okay? Thanksgiving, like I said before, I'm taking that day off. Let's go to December and give you that schedule. In December, I was originally have a Gary J's Blues House. That's canceled. As you will see, it's not on that graph schedule. So the reason for that is that I feel that Blues House program can be postponed until January. And I'll have that show on in January and debut. Now that's a second debut. And the reason that's a second debut is that I did a Blues House about a couple years ago, but got lost on the other computers, on the other computer. It's a show that was on a former hard drive, and which I don't have anymore. So I'm considering that program, Gary J's Blues House, is a brand new show to debut in January. So it's going to be a brand new program. We're going to start all over again with it, and it's going to be a regular show here on GJRB, and we'll be in the cycle. Now, like I did with Crooners, I want to see the numbers on those programs and how high they go. And if the numbers are good on the GJRB public site, more than likely we will have that program airing on GJRB Online as a regular program. So that's Gary J's Blues House, won't debut until January. Another note, the Best of the Gary Russin program, which I was going to have another one coming up, I decided to postpone that program and just do a full year-end review. And I'll talk about that coming up as well. But let's get more into that second week, or that first full week of December. Headed back into talk shows. But that week, before I get to that, since the Gary J's Blues House is canceled, we are going to start December, and we're going to start the Bright Holiday early. Bright Holiday and the Christmas programming is going to start early. I decided I was going to do that early. We were not going to originally start the Christmas programming until December 13th. But I feel that maybe perhaps we ought to start right after Thanksgiving. So the holiday programming, the GJRB Bright Holiday, will begin on December 2nd. That's a Friday, with the American Christmas Jukebox, regular Christmas music. Okay, all your favorite Christmas music. Just like I do now, like I said before, the Gary J in the afternoon will be suspended, and it's going to get turned into American Christmas Jukebox through the Christmas holidays. I have at least 3 American Christmas Jukebox shows in December, at least 3, and they will be on the air on December 2nd, will be the first one, and then on December 13th, and then on December 24th, Christmas Eve, we will do the American Christmas Jukebox and track Santa on NORAD. And I do that every year. It's a tradition. So again, this is going to be what we're going to do. Now, as you'll see here, if you're watching this as a video, American Christmas Jukebox will be on December 2nd. December 2nd. Then on December 6th, we'll be going back into this cycle again. Talk shows, the last 7 days, and Way Out There, which usually would air on a Friday. But since we're doing this with my cardiac rehab, I've decided to move it to Tuesday until after that is over. In the new year, the last 7 days and Way Out There will return back to its third Friday of the month, where it belongs. Okay, so it's just this right now. It's in this time slot on Tuesday instead of on Friday. I'm moving it because of my cardiac rehab. The last 7 days and Way Out There will be on Tuesday, December 6th instead of December 9th. Okay, so but it will return back to its regular schedule in the new year. Okay. The last 7 days and Way Out There will be on there. That'll be our last Way Out There for the year, and will be brand new stuff in the beginning of the year. Now, on the 10th, talk shows continue with Gary J's Sports Page. I'll do another one, and then on the 13th, another American Christmas Jukebox right after Christmas Favorites. That's nonstop Christmas music. Okay, I do that quite a bit. I like to do that, nonstop Christmas music or Christmas favorites. And then American Christmas Jukebox. And then the following on the 17th, December 17th, another Gary J's Radio, TV, and Movie Classics. This is going to be my Christmas show. Got a great show lined up. I'll be playing some old toy commercials. I got some old relics from the days of radio, some old Christmas stuff that I'm going to play, some clips, and it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be Christmas nostalgic, and on Gary J's Radio, TV, and Movie Classics. I'll have some trailers of Christmas movies and stuff like that, and some classic Christmas stuff, nostalgic Christmas stuff from TV, classic commercials, movie theater stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. Gary J's Radio, Television, and Movie Classics will be a Christmas show December 17th here on GJRB. Then on December 20th, we're going to be having Radioland, our annual running of the Campbell's Playhouse, A Christmas Carol. We've got that one coming up. The music show, again, Christmas favorites, followed by American Christmas Jukebox, A Tracking of Santa. I mentioned that earlier. Then I'm going to take the holiday off. No more after that. Christmas off the air. And then it's the Gary Russin program, December 27th, right after Christmas. And then the best of the Gary Russin program year-end review wraps up everything. So that'll put the official end to the season. And we'll be going into a hiatus period. Shows only airing will be the Gary Russin program, the last 7 days and Way Out There, the the Positive Rock Show and Rock Worship at Gary J's Sports page. The church services in remotes, as well as Bible study the last 7 days, and the best of the Gary Russell Program Year in Review. I'll be recording Pastor Ron's year-end predictions, which I had mentioned earlier. I had not, I have to look for last year's, and it might be on the church's computer. It's hard to say at this point. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to go. Now, this schedule I mentioned to you is how we're going to do things for Christmas and the holidays. So this is not the full schedule, but the full schedule is going to be as that. This is how it's going to be, and you see this right now on your video. This is how it's going to be until I get the expanded service. So I'm only going to be able to be on the air live 2 times a week. Basically 2 times a week. 1 week on a Tuesday and a Friday with a Saturday program as well. But I'm thinking that could change. I'm thinking of taking that off, as a matter of fact, because I don't have, all my programs run 3 hours a lot at maximum. The Gary Russell Program, Way Out There, Sports page are all like 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so that doesn't leave me much room on the GJRB Spreaker public site after that's over with my 5-hour limit. So that talk show will be taken off. I will not be able to do a sports page that week. So I will only have 2 programs a week on the Spreaker public site. 1 week music shows, which would be the Positive Rock Show and possibly our jazz. Then 1 week we'll have our remotes. Of course, those are podcasts that are uploaded. Then we do a talk show the following week, and then a nostalgic program on the 14th. Okay, so the talk shows would be the Gary Russell Program, of course, that week. Okay, and then the following week I'll have a Gary J Sports page on January 21st. So nostalgia right here would be the nostalgic programs under the music format, which would be crooners, followed by Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics. And then the following week we'll have our music shows again, and that would be another positive rock. It would be like a rock worship. And then on the 20th, of course, remotes and talk show. That would be the last 7 days and Way Out There. The following day would be a talk show, and that would be Sports page. That is a complicated thing to try to achieve. So program like Way Out There might stay on for only 24 hours before we have to take it off to make room for Sports page. Okay. So that's how that's going to go. Now, the following week, the last week, we'll again do a Gary Russell program on the 24th. And then that following 2 days, that stays on. And then we'll go off for another music show. And that would probably be the next music show on that list, whatever it be in that cycle. In which case, it would probably be... we started with the best of jazz, so we'll probably go back to let's see here. I'm looking at my time here on the recording. We have about 9 minutes left of this recording, so we're going to continue this and expand it another half hour. So we're going to stay on this for another half hour, because there's a lot here to talk about, and I'm running out of time with about 51:23 in, with about a little less than about 9 minutes left. So we're going to continue for another half hour. But getting back to what I was said earlier, we're going back to the top of the page here. So where the music shows are. So it would be the best of jazz would probably go into swing time favorites that week on the weekend program. Swing time favorites under the music show. So that would kind of lead into our nostalgic weekend, where we would have a debut of. We'll bring that nostalgic weekend. Will probably be a under that music shows. Under that music shows again would be swing time favorites, and we would go into that nostalgic weekend, and then we would have another crooners, maybe in a rebroadcast of the previous. Because I'll have Radio TV Classics on the 14th. Radio TV Movie Classics, I'll repeat that program on the 28th. So that's how I would do that. And then the following week on the 31st, we have remotes under that. Probably be a church service broadcast and would be off the air for a while. No live broadcast. But that's how that goes. You'll see that. That's how that rotation goes. But like I said, if there's a broadcast on a Tuesday and a Friday, there will not be a broadcast on a Saturday. But if we broadcast one day a week in the middle, like a Wednesday with a talk show, in that case it would probably be a Gary Russin program on a Wednesday. That following 14th will be the nostalgic program, because we can keep the programs on for 2 days then. And then nostalgia. So every 2 days there'll be a live broadcast. But some weeks we will not be able to do a sports page if we have a program on it. Now we have Way Out There. There will probably, I'm going to say, if there's a Way Out There on a Friday on the 20th of January, then there will be no sports page on that Saturday, because there is no room. Again, we can only broadcast live every 2 days. 2 to 3 days. So that would mean that on the 20th we would have the last 7 days and Way Out There. But on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd we cannot broadcast, because we have to let those programs do its run and have enough people listening to it on the podcast before we go ahead and change programs. On the 24th, then we could probably do on the 24th, especially if we have another Gary Russin program on that date. And then under the music show would probably be a Swing Time Favorites. So I'm going to say Nostalgia will not air that day either. So we cannot broadcast live, but we have a broadcast on a Tuesday and a Friday. If there's a broadcast on a Tuesday and a Friday live, there will not be a Saturday broadcast. At least until we get expanded service on Spreaker. That's how this is going to go. Okay? When we do get a expanded service on Spreaker, then I'll be able to put more shows on every day. But for now, we only can broadcast live every 2 days. So that's the new rule. We can only broadcast live every 2 days. If we have a broadcast on a Tuesday and a Friday, we will not be on the air on a Saturday. If we are broadcasting on a Wednesday, we can broadcast on a Saturday, because we don't have no broadcast on a Friday. On the 17th and the 20th, the following week of January, we'll have some broadcast on the air. That would be our music shows, and that would probably be the rock worship or something. Like I said, it's under the cycle now. As I said before, it'll follow in that order. We're going to start with the Best of Jazz, which will be on the air right after Thanksgiving. The Best of Jazz, and then we'll pick up on that schedule. We'll pick up on that schedule at the end of January. Or rather, at the end of... we'll pick up on that schedule at the end of Christmas, right when we get into January after the new year. When we get into January 2017... Okay, when we get into January 2017... it's going to be like this, okay? The next music show will be Swing Time Favorites, Okay, under that schedule. That will be then Swing Time Favorites will air. Swing Time Favorites will air on the 3rd of January. January 3rd. Now that's odd day to broadcast, so I might not even think about. I think I'm going to change that. There will be no live broadcast on that Wednesday, January 3rd. Okay, we're going to move that program up. Okay, we're going to move that program up, and it's going to air on the 2nd instead, because that was a Tuesday anyhow. So January 2nd will have Swing Time Favorites, and then that following week, I'm going to keep going that, and that following week, for instance, then the next music show after Swing Time Favorites will be our Bluegrass Jubilee. We'll do Bluegrass Jubilee January 6th. That will be the following Friday. No broadcast on Saturday. And then we go into the talk show, which will be on January 11th. That'll be a Gary Russin program. Okay. On the 14th, nostalgic program will be Crooners. Following that order, it's in that order of down the next show after Bluegrass Jubilee is Crooners. Crooners and Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics, which always follows it under nostalgia. Okay, under nostalgia, which I have here. Under that list, go to nostalgia underneath my list here. Where is that page? Okay, yep. Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics will follow Crooners. It always does. It's always after each other. That will be on January 14th. That will be our regularly scheduled programming. Okay, so then we go over to the weekend. Now, the weekends I have marked there on Monday are from the weekends. Those are the remotes. Those are the church services. They're regularly on. Bible study, what have you. I'll get to those remotes in the next half hour of this program. I will drop into the remotes, which we're going to talk about next. The remotes are going to be will be scheduled on the podcast weekends, especially those weekends when we're not doing a live program, such as the 7th and the 21st and the 28th will all be nothing but podcast weekends. Those are programs that will air on those weekends that are podcast weekends. The only podcast weekend I see there are the ones that don't have anything on a Friday. If there's no Friday broadcast, more than likely that podcast weekend. Now, the Friday the 27th, that's a Saturday. So I have a music show set for that Saturday, the 27th of January. Not anymore. Take that off. Okay? Not anymore. I take that off. Basically because the program schedule says that if there is a program on already, it needs to stay on for 2 to 3 days. So the 27th is a Saturday. Will not have a broadcast that day. There will not be anything on the air that day. So that weekend is going to be a podcast weekend. Okay? So that will be a podcast weekend on that weekend. All right. Then the following week, I will not be on the air live at all, but we'll have a remote up there. Basically, church services will be on at that time slot. Now, this is a cycle rotation that you're seeing right now as a video. That's how it's going to look, and that's how it's going to be until we get the maximum, or what will be the premium Spreaker. giving me the 45 minutes plan, giving me almost 100 hours of storage, in which case then we can be on the air more often, and we can have our programs on more often. Other than that, that's how it's going to be, month to month, cycle programming. Okay, and that's the only way I can do it until I can get something more expanded that would fit our program schedule. And the way it's looking right now, looks like that's how it's going to be. When I return, I'll be right back, and I'm going to conclude this podcast by, again, reiterating without confusion the program schedule as you see it. We'll wrap it up by talking about the program schedule, again, reiterating and making you understand exactly what this means, that the program schedule has to be this way on our GJRB schedule update so that all the programs are on at fair enough time on the GJRB Spreaker public site to get hits, and also because I only have so much room on the GJRB Spreaker public site to put these programs on. So we'll be right back with a wrap-up of our GJRB Schedule Update podcast in just moments.
If you're a new emerging artist and want your songs out there, the place to go is Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation, a website purely devoted to new music from new artists from every town and every state in the U.S. If you're a solo artist and recording your own music, it's Reverb Nation. Stop on by, visit, listen to the music, check out the site, www.reverbnation.com. Put your music out there and gain an audience. Go to Reverb Nation for the best in new music. And remember, if you like your songs played on GJRB Online is up and coming, drop me an email at GaryJ65@yahoo.com. And I'll be playing your song on all GJRB Online shows. Remember the name, Reverb Nation.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else.
Hey, alright, it's Kip Casper.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
It was the year World War II ended, and the troops came home, and the music was fabulous, with big hits from Perry Como, Judy Garland, and the Andrews Sisters. The year was 1945. Listen to the year in music on the next Swing Time. I'm Gary Rustin, and I'll be featuring the biggest hits from that year, along with trivial information about the prices of items such as groceries, the news events, the culture of 1945 on the next Swing Time. And I'm back as we continue our GJRB Schedule Update podcast. We're going to wrap it up here and once again give you the idea exactly what we're doing in our program schedule and how this is all going to work out. Once again, the Gary Russell program schedule for Tuesday, November 22nd is canceled, but I have rescheduled that program for November 29th at 2 o'clock Central, tentatively on GJRB Online. I'll be taking Thanksgiving off. The following week, I got a great jazz weekend, which I'm going to be talking about, which I just talked about. It's going to be fabulous. Smooth jazz all weekend long on our 9-foot signal, our closed circuit KJAZ, Cool Jazz 106.7, but also here on Spreaker with smooth jazz, smooth afternoon on Friday. Yeah, that Friday after, that'll be the 26th. And that'll be Friday, and then Saturday all day long, smooth jazz, and of course Saturday night will be the best of jazz. So we bring you some of the best in great jazz recordings here on GJRB, the best of jazz. Reiterating that Gary J's Blues House, which was supposed to have premiered on December 2nd, I have canceled that broadcast. That broadcast will be scheduled in the spring season, looking at the height of the fact that I could not fit that program in January. I will have that Gary J's Blues House will premiere on our GJRB spring season. So, in which case that will be the maybe the time we can get the expanded service. In which case we'll have more days to broadcast, and that program will be able to air. Other than that, it is a new season program. So the new season program will follow in spring. So that's going to be on the air in the spring. Okay? On our spring schedule. So I'm postponing Blues House debut to the spring schedule due to the holidays. Now the Gary J in the Afternoon is changed its name during Christmas as the American Christmas Jukebox. We'll have our holiday programming. Bright Holiday will start then. The Bright Holiday is going to start then at the top of December. We're going to start Bright Holiday at the beginning of December with the American Christmas Jukebox. That's going to start in December. Bright Holiday starts in December. It will be December 1st officially, but we're going to be on the air Friday, December 2nd with the American Christmas Jukebox, which will crank up our season Christmas music. The only program that will be there is a talk show. Will be the last 7 days and Way Out There. And then we're going to have the regular stuff and a talk show, Gary J's Sports Page. On the 10th, that's tentative. Looking at that under that new plan, I think we'll be able to do it. So Gary J's Sports Page on the 10th, that will be the regular time slot, 2 o'clock Central, here on GJRB Online, okay? Then on the 13th, we'll have another American Christmas Jukebox right after Christmas Favorites. And then on the 17th, our Christmas, the Gary J's Radio, Television, and Movie Classics Christmas Show. That will only be the show, that will be the only show on the air December 17th, okay? On the 20th, okay, that whole weekend is 17th, 18th, and 19th. And then on the 20th, we'll be taking off for Radioland with our special running again of the Campbell's Playhouse and A Christmas Carol. Starring Lionel Barrymore. We'll run that every year, and it's always great. Plus some holiday old-time shows as well. So we'll have a Christmas Radioland as we go back in time on our GJRB time machine for a trip to Christmases past for some old-time radio classics. So that's coming up on the 20th. The 24th, Christmas Favorites, and again, American Christmas Jukebox. It'll be Christmas Eve, and then we're going to be going our jukebox show, and we're going to track Santa on NORAD on that day, December 24th. It'll be early broadcast, 12 o'clock noon Central. I probably will just kind of delve right into our Christmas Jukebox. Christmas Favorites, but it's probably going to be American Christmas Jukebox. And we'll be tracking Santa. I want to do that show early in case I have to go off the air early. The 27th, we'll be back to the Gary Russell program and back to regular programming after the holidays are over. The Best of the Gary Russell program year-end review will be followed on the 30th. I'm going to take New Year's off as we end our holiday, end our broadcast season, and it's just going to be all the programs that are regularly airing in January. And January's broadcast goes like that. Like I said before, with that in mind, with only broadcast on Tuesdays and Saturdays, 1 week, okay, then that would mean that if we have a broadcast on Tuesday, we'll either broadcast on Fridays or Saturdays. Okay, then the following week, we'll have a Wednesday broadcast of the Gary Russell program, but we'll have broadcast again on Saturday with a nostalgic program. Okay, So that'll mean it will broadcast on Saturday with a nostalgia program. And that will be American Christmas. That'll be nostalgic programming on Saturday. Okay, that will probably be, again, whatever, would fall on that rotation. We already have we already have radio, television, and movie classics on the air that week. So we'll be going back to the regular schedule, which would be crooners. Okay, and there'll be another crooners, followed by Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics. We have already had a Radio Land for Christmas, so we'll start all over again with crooners and Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics. So that's how that's going to go on the 17th. It'll be a music show, whatever that would be. We're going to bring back on Tuesdays, of course, our Positive Rock show, which has been on hiatus since, I can't remember, I don't exactly know when we even had that show on, but it'll be on hiatus, basically, for no other reason than because we haven't had it on. All our programs are booked, and like I've said before earlier, when Spreaker cut my time, I had to cut my programming. That was all there is to it. I had no choice in the matter. It was decided by Spreaker, and so what happened was all my programs got cut in half, and I only can put so many shows on the air before I run out of space on the Spreaker public site. So I decided that we're only going to do 2 live shows a week, with every other weekend. Podcast weekends will be every other weekend, and every other weekend is going to be a music show. Every other week is going to be a talk show, and the cycle will just have to be that way. That's the only way it's going to be. I had no other choice but to do it this way, given the time cut by Spreaker. But I'm planning on working on the budget for a expanded service on Spreaker so that I can continue broadcasting and be able to be on the air more times a week. But for now, this is how it's going to go. When you see this as a video, it's going to be a little different than the audio portions. You're listening to the audio here on Spreaker, but when the video gets uploaded, it's going to be different than the podcast. What you're hearing right now and seeing right now is part of the podcast, but not the whole thing. Okay? Just part of the podcast explaining the schedule and how it works and how the rotation works and stuff like that. Again, ascending, descending order for music shows, and the rest of the categories are all ascending order. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, being that some of the programming, the most shows that I have are the music shows. The least amount of shows are my talk shows. So that is the reason too behind this cycle. Now, like I said, each category follows that descending and ascending order in the cycle, and all the programs that are in there will be what will air in that order. So when the last program that I did, the next order will be the next program. Now I'm going to try to make sure that all the programs air, but like I said before, under this new, with Spreaker doing what it did to me, I had no choice but to limit programming to only 2 times a week. 2 live shows a week, and the rest is going to be pre-recorded programming. That's all there is, all I do about that, but that's how that's all going to work out. And I will see what happens about trying to get expanded service so that we can be on the air more often and have these programs on more often in the schedule. But as for right now, that's the only choice I've got. And that's going to wrap it up for our GJRB Schedule Update podcast once again. That is our program schedule. And the video will be available to you on the GJRB TV YouTube channel as soon as I edit it down for video. And I will have that on the air for you so that you can listen and see exactly what we're doing in the program schedule lineup and why I have only certain programs on a month. Now, debuting in the spring season will be Gary J's Good Times Great Oldies Show, the Rock and Roll 50s, 60s Rock and Roll Show, 50s, 60s, 70s Rock and Roll Show, and Gary J's Blues House will be debuting on our GJRB spring schedule. Now, I'm thinking about calling that, I had a name for that earlier, but it's going to be called the GJRB Freestyle Spring Spectacular, and we're going to probably launch that, well, about mid-February. I'm looking at probably toward the end of February, around the time the baseball players go their spring training, will be the time we're going to start our spring schedule. So it'll probably be like close to March. So we're going to probably about the top of March, we'll have our spring schedule, and I'll record another GJRB Schedule Update podcast, and we'll talk about that new spring schedule and exactly what we're going to get to do. That's it for now. I'm Gary J. Russin. This has been a GJRB Schedule Update podcast of programs coming up on GJRB Online. This will be available to you for the rest of the weekend and will be uploaded as a video on the GJRB TV YouTube channel. This audio version of the GJRB Schedule Update podcast will also be uploaded to the Spreaker public site for broadcast as well. So you'll get the video and the audio on the GJRB TV YouTube channel, and the rest of the program the rest of the time. So you'll be able to catch this even if it's not on the GJRB schedule. This schedule update will stay on the GJRB TV, on the GJRB public site through the rest of the weekend, but then it will be available only on the GJRB TV YouTube channel. That's it for now. Thanks a lot, and of course, have a great weekend. I'm Gary J. Russin. This has been a GJRB Schedule Update podcast.
It was the year World War II ended, and the troops came home, and the music was fabulous, with big hits from Perry Como, Judy Garland, and the Andrews Sisters. The year was 1945. Listen to the year in music on the next Swing Time. I'm Gary Russin, and I'll be featuring the biggest hits from that year, along with trivial information about the prices of items such as groceries, the news events, the culture of 1945 on the next Swing Time.
After 1 year, the wait is over. Now join Pastor Ron Johnston and a panel of men and women to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. In this world of chaos and upheaval, this is the program that puts it all into perspective. How will we survive? God only knows. So trust Him and listen to the last 7 days.
Uploaded as a podcast or live
Every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB Online.
This is GJR Broadcasting.